again some sunny day.
And my rank in the Army was Technician Corporal. I believe that's Chief Technician, 4th grade. To join, well, no, joining the Army is a long story. My older brother was on his last deferment.
Okay.
So I quit high school. I convinced my folks to quit high school so I could probably go in with him. So I quit high school, went through my clearance and all that. Well, 6 months later, my brother gets another deferment. So he's at the station waving me off. 78 Armored Medical Battalion.
Okay.
With the 8th Armored Division, which was all tanks.
Okay.
All
okay.
tanks. I got to be a combat medic.
And talk about, I know you were at the Battle of the Bulge.
Oh, that was wicked.
Yeah?
That was wicked.
Can you describe that a little if you could?
Well, I think it was something like 20 below zero. The worst winter Europe has ever had. It was a blizzard condition, and we're there in sleeping bags. In a sleeping bag, the only thing that you took off is your shoes, your boots. Otherwise that, you know. No, and the bad part of it is that we were in dark uniform like this here, but they were in a white outfit.
Tough to see.
So you couldn't see them at all. You could see the muzzle blast, but we had more casualties frostbite than we did from the war. More people frostbitten. No, it was a wicked time, and it was Christmas time too. So it's a heck of a time to spend Christmas. Well, at the time, you're only a teenager at the time, you know, and you're more or less doing a job. You don't look at it as, oh God, I've been inducted into the Army, and what the heck am I going to do? You're there to do a job, and you do it the best you can. One of my other duties, I was a courier. I would have to run the night reports into headquarters. So one night I got lost in some little town. I could hear generators running. I went to the place where the generators were. I opened the door and there's General Patton. One little town in Germany.
Okay.
And there was General Patton. So he didn't have his helmet on, but he still had his 2 pistols. So he says, oh, sit down, young fella. So we sat down there, we chatted for about 15 or 20 minutes, mind you. Never did he ask me where I was from. He asked me how the Army was treating me, how everything was going in the Army. After the end of our discussion, he says, look, we brought me to the map. He says, look, here's where we are. Here's where you got to go. Good luck, soldier. And General Patton with the troops, he was a son of a gun. You can't find a better man. One-on-one.
And you got a Bronze Star, right?
I got a Bronze Star a year ago.
And it took that long?
Well, it took that long because in 1979, a lot of the records in Washington were burned. And I believe it's the Army and the Marines records were burned. And I guess when our veterans agent here in Chicopee looked up for my ribbons, they finally found this out. So they said anybody that was in the Battle of the Bulge as a combat medic deserves the Bronze Star.
What does that say about you, that you got through the Battle of the Bulge?
Well, yeah, this I didn't expect. In fact, that was a great shock. And it was an honor too. I mean, I'm proud of that. Mm-hmm. And the agent made it so that I get a veteran's Bronze Star plate on my car, free for the rest of my life. I happened to get an application. I put in the application, and well, I never won anything in my life, so I put it in and forgot about it. First thing you know, a month later, they chose me. I want to get in. You'll be on the next flight. Oh my God. Myself would have never been able to get down Washington to see that. But through Joe Byron and his group, I was able. That was 6 years ago. It's almost a life experience because, well, even though it was 6 years ago, it seems like it was yesterday. I can remember every step of the way. It was a long day, but every minute was worth it. You were escorted on a bus to the airport, and at the airport you had the firemen that would, well, you know, I was one of the fortunate ones. I was still walking, but there was a lot of wheelchair people there, and the firemen took care of everybody. They wheeled the wheelchair into the airport, and they were amazing. I have a picture that shows you the expression one of the firemen's looking at me down there. Telling John, there's one case there where a little boy in the morning We were just left the monument, and a little boy came up to me and he says, "Mister, are you a soldier?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "You want to be a soldier?" He said, "I want to be a pilot." I said, "Okay, the Air Force will take care of you. You're going to be a good pilot, I know." Well, then, 4 o'clock in that afternoon, at the end of the day, this little kid comes up to me. He says, "Mister, do you remember me?" I said, "Yeah, you were the pilot." Yeah. He says, "Hey, my mom wants to know if I could take a picture with you." "Sure, of course." So I put my hat on, a little kid. I got down on one knee. I could see the mother taking a picture. I look up and there's 20 people taking a picture of us. That was touching there. That's, you know, a little boy interested. So great. It's the best experience I've ever had.
Really?
No, like I said, it was 6 years ago, but it's as though it was yesterday.
And anybody who hasn't gone, what would you tell them that?
Oh God, if you have a chance, go.
Yeah.
By all means, go.
All right.
No, it's worth every second of it. The whole thing was perfectly organized. You had food in the morning. You get into the airport, you had food waiting for you there. You had assistant waiting for you there. Like you go through the airport, people are at McDonald's and all that. They're not eating no more. They come in the hall, they're waving you, shaking your hand, grabbing you, stopping you, and all this. The binder, well, it's pictures that I took of our trip with my daughter, and there's one picture there that's very touching now because my daughter, who was my, what would you call it, comrade or
Guardian.
Or my guardian. She was in her 15th year of chemo with breast cancer, and 2 years ago we lost her. She was with me the whole day. She even climbed the Lincoln Memorial Steps, which is, I don't know, something like 60, 70 steps. She climbed up there with me that day.
Going through chemo.
Going through chemo, yeah. She worked to the very last day, yeah. Back on the bus, they handed us a whole bunch of letters from home. So I had every one of my daughters write me a letter, my wife, my grandson, my great-grandkids, they all.
And you still have them today?
Oh, I have them here. I was reading them, was it last night? I had to tear up.
That's understandable.
Yeah, see, there's a letter from my wife here. And this is from Sandy. And look at what she says towards the end.
I'm so privileged to be there with you at your hoot and hurrah. Love, Sandy.
Yeah. Oh, and in fact, I was reading it to John a little while ago, and I almost had to stop at the end there. It still hurts. Great-grandson. All the letters.
Dear Pepe, that's
cool.
And now looking back through this stuff, how does that make you?
Oh, what makes me feel old, for one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it makes me feel wonderful too. How they cared. How they feel. See, let's hear my grandson here. What did he say here?
There has to be a special place in heaven for medics.
Yeah.
I like that.
And he's got the combat medics badge. No, there's from my granddaughter.
That is quite the keepsake right there.
But I know we'll meet again.